In this video, we're going to be installing the Moen Georgine, I think that's how you pronounce it, Georgine Motion Sense Wave Touchless Activation Pull Down Kitchen Faucet. So essentially what this is just a faucet installation, but it's a little extra stuff for what I understand. It's my first time installing a faucet period, and it's my first time installing a motionless faucet. Well, let me take that back. I've installed a faucet before on a bathroom sink, but it's my first time installing one on the kitchen sink personally. So look, a little background on me. Just pretty much a hairy homeowner, but I'm also a rental property owner, and I do most of the stuff myself. I'm self-taught. Before the internet was out, I was trying to figure out how to do things, calling people, that sort of thing. Now that the internet's out, and when I say internet, I'm specifically referring to YouTube. Now that has, in the recent times, helped me out a lot. I wish I had YouTube when I was starting out my rental property and real estate career back in 2005, but it wasn't available. So you had to figure things out back then. But now that it is available, and I've been utilizing it in, I would say, the past 3 years to do a few things, I'm out here trying to help out and give back. So that's why I'm making this video for the other, hairy homeowners or do-it-yourself landlords like myself. So yeah, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to install this today, and bear with me. I'll show you guys what's inside the package. So let's try to make this. I'm gonna try to make this video as quick as possible. So opening the box up, what do we have here? The main thing we don't need in here is, of course, the instructions. Throw this out. Nah, I'm just joking. Main thing we need to do is we need to go through my recommendation is go through the instruction book first and study the instruction book. It's not that hard. I know, most of us don't like using it, but something this will save you headache if you haven't done this before. So just go through the instruction book and read it. It's pretty easy. Got about 4 or 5 pages in there to kind of go over simply what to do. If you've done this, if you're some type of a handy type of person, it's not that hard, right, to understand it right off the bat. So that's the first thing. Go through the instruction book. Take a look at the items you have here. So what do we have here? So first off the bat, we have the faucet head, the hose that connects to the faucet head and then goes through the faucet out the end of it here. We have the sensor control wire for when you wave your hand on the faucet and activates the faucet for the water to come out rather than use the handle. This sensor goes into the control box, which is located here. Connects right up in here. You have I believe, right, this is actually wrench that you can use to tighten up your, I believe it's to tighten up your cables here. Well, not your cables, but your hoses. This is the nut to tighten your faucet up to your sink. I'm going to be using this. If you have 3 holes at your sink, you will use this and to cover the 3 holes. If you have 1 hole, you can just use your faucet and just put your faucet in. And then this is your battery pack in order to control your faucet, right? I believe they also have a plug-in that you can also purchase separately, but I'm going to use this battery powered pack so I don't have to run electric to my back of my sink. All right. This also comes with a soap dispenser, but we're not going to use that. This is the faucet that we're going to remove. This is one of those cheap faucets that most homeowners or even landlords purchase, being cheap. I've never done this before, purchasing one of these cheap faucets. I realized early on that, buying cheap stuff doesn't usually work out when it comes to, especially like faucets, right? I like to buy Moen personally, or Delta, some of the more expensive faucets, because when you buy those little more expensive faucets, if the cartridge wears out and things of that nature, you can just go ahead and replace it for free. Typically they have lifetime warranties on them. All right, so I've already loosened this up. Wasn't hard to do. I'll go into the faucet, bear with me here. This is an old cabinet with a lot of leaks that's happened over time, but it is what it is. So first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna turn off your water. You're gonna, those are two shut-off valves. The left one, the blue left one is the hot, and the right blue is the cold. You're going to shut that off. You're going to turn it to the right, shut it off. Next thing you're going to do, you're going to disconnect the actual hoses that were already on the faucets. That's one, and the second one is actually in the bucket here. But you're going to disconnect those, right? They went to the top here and here. All right? Then what you're going to do is you're going to go underneath, and it's two wing caps that I've already removed, but you're going to go ahead and disconnect those wing caps. You're just going to screw them off, all right? And that's what you do to disconnect the actual existing faucet. After you're done disconnecting, just pull it up and out. Then, of course, what we're going to do next is we're going to clean this area off. All right, so I have the area clean. Now what we're going to do is we're going to start to do the first step of installing the faucet. All right, so first step is going to be installing the cover to cover the 3 holes. We're going to take the gasket that was supplied in the box, and we're going to throw the gasket on. All right, so we threw the gasket on, check for the fitment. Looks like the fitment's going to be okay. We do have some areas where I want to clean off first. I'm going to take the gasket and the cover, snap the gasket onto the cover. Place that down. Next, we're going to put the gasket, this gasket, clear gasket, onto the faucet. Okay, so what you need to do, you need to take the washer that is located here, and then the nut. Screw it up. Make sure the wire is not pinched on the other side. They actually help you guys out and provide you guys with the tool here to screw the nut up. All right. Next thing you do is screw this nut, and that nut, what the purpose of that nut is to mount on the control box. All right, next we're gonna get our hose together. In this particular faucet set, you have the hose, and then you have the faucet head that can actually pull out. So you have the faucet head, the hose, and then you also have the weight, which is right here. And the purpose of the weight is when you pull the hose out, is for the hose to go back into the faucet, right? You need your weight in order to counteract you pulling it out so it goes back in. So what we're going to do now is we're going to attach the hose to the head, put it through the faucet, fish it through the faucet, and then put our weight on. All right, so we just fished the hose through the faucet, and I just connected the hose to the faucet head, hand tight, and then just take some pliers, whatever pliers you have, grip on, and slightly snug it on tight. Don't over tighten it because this is just plastic on plastic and you'll crack it. All right, now we're gonna go under the sink and we're gonna do some more work where we're hooking up the weight and we're hooking up the control box. All right, what we just did was we came under, I took the control box. On the control box, you had the control box and you had these two hot and cold hoses already connected. What I did was I took the hose we just ran through the faucet and I took off the white cap that was on that hose and then I just pushed it into place, okay? So that's what you do. It's pretty much a quick disconnect. You just push it back into place, and I'm assuming this is the release, where you hold on to this and pull it out, and that's how you release it. So you push this all the way into place, and what you'll hear a snap. Okay? We also just put the cable, this from the faucet, this black cable, into the control box as well. Next, we're going to mount up the control box and then put on the weight. All right, next we just hooked up the hot and cold water. Now we're tightening up those lines. Starting with the hot. Cold. All right, next thing we're gonna do, we'll put the weight on. We're gonna take this filler piece out before we put it on the hose. And the way the weight goes is you wanna put it on anywhere from here to here. I'm gonna put it on as high as I can, just because my hose is not long, right? We'll see how that works out, but I'm gonna put it right around here. They're saying pretty much on the instructions, don't go above that line. So I'm gonna take their word for it. I'm just gonna snap it on right around here. All right, I have a lot of things hooked up here. We have the hot and water lines hooked up to the hot and water lines of the house. We have the weight now placed onto the actual faucet hose. We have the control box mounted. And now what we're gonna do is we're in the process of putting the batteries into the control box. All you need to do is, of course, put them as the direction shows. So the black part goes where the spring is, and the copper part goes where the spring is not. Okay, so what I did was I put a little screw that came with the battery mount into the back of my cabinet, and then I mounted the battery pack that controls the power to the automatic motion faucet. Then all I did was run the wire and plug the wire up where it says P for power. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna turn on the water, check for leaks, and then see how the faucet works. So I'm checking out for leaks. I don't see any leaks. This is from the old faucet. What we're gonna be doing, or what I'm gonna be doing, is have the tenant checking for leaks throughout the day, because they can spike up, but right now I see no leaks. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna do the check per the instructions. First thing it says is turn on the handle. Next thing it says is to do the wave check. And then it talks about the different spray wand features. And so here you go, you have the handle here, you have the sensor here, and you have the wand with the different modes here. All right, let's do the handle first. The handle. So far, the handle's working.